products. In many of our cases, let's say shampoo or detergent, frankly, the product itself, as long as we are doing a good job of producing the right quantities, should go off the shelf by the time a sales rep goes to the store the next time. The only situations where we have product that is expired, for example, would be where we have sold too much inventory into a store or had a situation where we've produced too much and it's expired in our own warehouse, not even in a store shelf at a customer. So in many of our products, if you will, if we do a good job of managing our supply chain, and therefore we are managing inventories at each node in the supply chain, whether it is completely within our control or with our customers, that should not be something that is an issue that comes up frequently. However, if we do a poor job of information flow, remember one of the 4 flows is information flow. And if we do a poor job of understanding what inventories our customers hold or what inventories we hold or how do we manage those well, we end up with situations where we've got product that is sitting for such a long time it expires, and that obviously leads to scrapping and obviously higher costs. Now, if you talk about product life cycle from an innovation standpoint, that's where we get into the intersection of both the commercial, the research, and the supply chain folks. And obviously, we want to make sure that our supply chains are able to produce the new product in an efficient manner and as rapidly as required, but only as rapidly as required. Remember, I also mentioned that when we are catering to value-conscious consumers, they actually don't want a lot of change, and therefore we've got to make sure that as supply chain professionals we are asking the right questions even when there's innovation involved, saying, is this innovation really required? What consumer or customer needs is this really meeting? And if we find that there isn't a good answer or a good reason, we've got to be able to push back. Okay?
So I have a question for you. As you're working in P&G, have you claimed that your supply chain strategy is better than as your counterparts like Unilever?
I don't think you can say a supply chain strategy is better. I think what we can say is our supply chain strategy is doing a good job of delivering the results that we expect. And therefore, if you compare, I think you can compare a few results and say, yeah, in these we feel pretty good. So if you look at gross margins, P&G gross margins relative to Unilever gross margins, or Colgate gross margins, or Unicharm or Kao, some of our big competitors, you'll typically find that P&G gross margins are very healthy, and therefore we feel pretty good. Now, does that mean we don't have opportunity to improve? No, not at all. We still have opportunity to improve there. If you look at cash performance, free cash flow, I think our performance in the past couple of years has been average at best. It's not fantastic. It's not poor, but it's certainly not great. So if you look at our results relative to some of our competitors have better results in the free cash area than we have. So is there an opportunity for improvement? Of course there is. And therefore there is a fair amount of focus on how do we improve our free cash flow productivity. So it goes back to a point I made around look in the mirror, but also look outside the window. So when we compare our results with other competitors, that's also part of looking outside of the window. And we know that in a few areas we are actually doing very, very well, but there are pockets of opportunities where we can do much better than we are doing today.
Any more questions? Hi Rajesh, a very basic question. In your opinion, what are the top 5 success factors for a successful supply chain?
Top 5 success factors for a successful supply chain? Well, I think I would say only one thing, that a great supply chain is something that meets the business needs brilliantly, i.e., it delivers on the basics, whether it is service or quality, impeccably day in and day out, every order that comes in. So it delivers the basics with excellence, but also delivers great financial performance. And great financial performance not for 1 quarter or 1 year, but for sustained great financial performance. And that could be whether it is gross margins or whether it is cash, either way. And lastly, I would say innovation, the ability to innovate, the ability to adapt to changing circumstances, to changing consumer and customer requirements, without impacting the basics or without impacting the excellent financial results. So that would be my sort of answer to the question. I don't know if that's what you're looking for.
Any more questions?
Sir, I've got a question, please. Sir, what kind of possible future supply chain structure do you suggest in near future? I mean, in the whole world, including our developing countries.
Well, it varies on what products, what business we are in. So, the supply chain, someone asked a question around hospitals earlier. So, the supply chain requirements of a hospital, of the future are going to be very different from the supply chain requirements of a consumer products company, are going to be very different from that of an aircraft manufacturer or an automobile company, or for that matter an IT company, for example. So the supply chain of the future is going to be is a function of the nature of the industry. Some industries are innovating very rapidly, and therefore the supply chains of the future are going to look very different than the supply chains of the past. Some industries are already fairly mature, and therefore their supply chains may not see that much change going forward. So I think we'll have to look at what particular industry or sector we are talking about, and then have a deeper discussion on that.
Any more questions? I will take his question. You have asked.
Hi Rajesh. Rajesh, what's your solution or advice to the freight companies who are offering supply chain solutions to consumer production companies?
Well, I guess look at how you can partner with the consumer product company to create value is what I would say. I think very often I find freight companies or third-party logistics partners competing only on the basis of cost. That I will offer you the cheapest price to get your product from point A to point B, and in some cases that may be the most value that you can offer. But I would strongly urge you to look beyond just offering a unidimensional sort of service, if you will, focused only on cost. So I would look at, is there a solution you can offer that improves customer service? Is there a solution that reduces the amount of inventory that is in the supply chain? Is there some ability to serve a new channel that hasn't been served previously because of the partnership? So I would keep looking out for ways to create value for yourself, but also create value for the manufacturer, such that we can serve our common business interests even better, is the suggestion that I would have.
Sir, I have a question from you. I am working in Huntsman Corporation, and our company started business in Pakistan in 2011. So we are in a very struggling stage. So I want to ask you, what should be our top core values for the supply chain management, that it should become a successful department?
Well, like I said previously, understand the business need. What business are you in? What is the needs, from the supply chain? What is most important? What would success look like? So the person who's running the business, the chief executive, what are his expectations from the supply chain? When you talk to your customers, what do the customers want from the supply chain? If you understand your consumer needs, what are the consumer needs, and how well is your current supply chain meeting those needs? So I would start first by understanding or engaging with the business, both internal to your own company, but also externally, the business partners or the consumers you serve, to understand how well you're serving those needs today, or where the big gaps are, and focus on those to get started. As you look internally, I would look at do you have the capabilities needed to be able to serve the business needs well? And if you don't have the capabilities, obviously to start with building the capabilities and mastery within your team, within your organization, within the people that work on the team, so that once the needs become clear, you also know how to go after meeting those needs. Because if you only collect needs but don't have a way to meet the needs, guess what's going to happen very soon? Very soon people will stop talking to you because they know that you're wasting their time. So we've got to be able to collect needs, but we also have to offer solutions that give our partners the confidence that we want to stay engaged, and that partnering with each other is a way to get both better business and supply chain results.
This is the last question.
Hi Rajesh. The presentation you give here, what fantastic presentation, and the videos you shared from the mom campaigns, it was fantastic. A question here: how P&G supply chain deal with the demand amplification and seasonality?
Yeah, well, I think good question. I think in many cases, we are trying to, and someone else asked the question earlier on, do we produce to order or do we produce to stock? In many supply chains, we are trying to produce to order, which means that we are watching demand trends and are able to adjust our production schedules up or down to be able to meet the demand. At the same time, we are trying to understand what are the patterns that drive demand spikes. So for example, if we do a promotion where we are selling our brand at a 50% discount, guess what? We know that we will see a demand spike, and we have experience and data now that tells us, okay, before we do a promotion like that, here's what we need to be prepared for. So demand amplification, we are tackling, like I said, in two ways. One is produce to the real demand rather than produce to stock. So we have the right item produced as in as responsive a fashion as possible, and we are keeping enough capacities available to be able to do that.
Rajesh, any comments as the conclusion? Yes. Any comments for the conclusion? Can you hear us?
Namir?
Yes, William.
Namir?
Yes, I think we lost Rajesh. William, can you hear us?
How you doing? It's Bill. Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely we can. Why don't you say a word to the audience over here? The audience is over here. Why don't you introduce yourself, and why don't you have a short word with them?
Well, I have three comments, and one is to thank Rajesh, who I've worked with for the last 10 years. He is a really competent supply chain expert. The second comment is I appreciate, Namir, you letting me sit in on this. And then the third comment, I look forward to speaking with IBA Karachi in the next few weeks. Rajesh has really done a good job of greasing the skids for me talking about thriving in developing markets. So I appreciate you letting me participate, and I look forward to the next seminar.
Thank you very much. I would like to call upon Mr. Izar Hussain to say thanks.
Assalamu alaikum, and I would like to thank you for sparing time for this workshop. And I believe that supply chain is very important. I usually have debate with Hanif that what is first, supply chain or marketing. Basically, my background is marketing, and his background is supply chain now. So most of the time he says supply chain. Okay. Today I agree that supply chain is first, but supply chain is not introduced without marketing. That is the problem. Okay. Because God has created supply chain first, and then man came for marketing it. The second thing is that in country where we are producing so much in huge quantity, we are the 4th largest or 5th largest milk producer and hardly processing 3% of the milk, and the cost of produce milk is so high that it cannot be exported outside. So what is required? We require operational excellence. And operational excellence is possible only with good supply chain. And same is the case with other food products, vegetables, flowers, fruits. One of my niece came from UK and she said, कितने अच्छे केले आप लोग खा रहे हैं. हमारे पास यूके में केले लौकी के बराबर होते हैं और लौकी के मजे के होते हैं. ठीक है ना? The problem is that we are not keeping the quality of those things. In Pakistan, we require very good supply chain for hospital. We require supply chain for pharmaceutical products. Pharmaceutical products are being supplied on the same trucks where they are supplying other goods. We are not maintaining temperature of that, and we are having problems with supplying this food products. Most of the food products are perished before reaching us. Somebody was telling me that there are very good dates in Makran, but those dates are not available in Karachi because they are perished because of the temperature differences and we cannot eat them. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for sparing time, and we hope that you will participate in the similar programs we will try to bring for you. Your comments which you have given are very important for us, and we are also thankful to Mustafa Saab for bringing his unit, his class here, because we don't think that we should work in silos. We believe in cooperation, collaboration, and working together. And William, you are welcome back. And Rajesh, thank you very much for sparing time. And we hope that we will be having similar sessions after this also. And we would like to have some specialized sessions for some specialized subjects which we will come up with after discussion with the people here. And we are thankful for Amir for this particular thing, because he's the person, he's the man behind this arrangement. He persuaded us, and I think this was a very great idea, and his dream has been translated into this workshop. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rajesh and William. Thank you, everybody here. And Rajesh, you cannot join us for tea, and William, you cannot join us for tea, but we are going for tea. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sure, enjoy.
Very good. Thank you.
tea and high tea and business networking, is it?
Rajesh will be here with us to have tea and lunch with us in person.
Is at Center for Executive Education at the end of this lobby for everyone. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Rajesh.
Okay.